Hello everyone, this is George Diaz with Larry Jacob Internet Marketing, and I want to talk to you about keeping people in your course. You know, you work really hard to get people to buy your online course, get in, the ka-ching, the credit card, the money gets in, but then these people leave, and they leave kind of unexpectedly. You don't understand why. So I want to give you 3 recommendations, 3 ways that we tell our top customers to make enhancements to their online course platform so that they can keep people moving through their course all the way to the end. Because remember, when they get to the end, they're much more likely to do repeat business with you. They're much more likely to refer others to you, and that's kind of the name of the game. So recommendation number 1 of 3, first of all, give them some sort of access to you. Now, a lot of people come up and say, whoa, I wanted to build this thing so that I didn't have to be involved. I wanted it to be very scalable, and I completely understand that. But when you have a lot of students on their own in Lone Ranger mode, it's tough to keep them moving along. They need a way to answer questions, and sometimes the questions are maybe like, trivial questions, but they need a way to either confirm that they're moving along, get their questions answered, or to get an explanation for something that's just kind of throwing them off. So one way you can very easily do that is give them access to you via email. What we typically find is people don't abuse that. As a matter of fact, they may use it less often than they should. Now, to get a little bit more control on that, you can offer what we like to call office hours. Now, office hours are, let's say 10 to 11 o'clock on Tuesdays. You're going to be available to answer questions. You can do it live on a Zoom call, on a live in Facebook like this one, or you can come up and tell people, hey, you're gonna hold a live, meeting via Zoom, via Facebook Live, whatever your favorite medium is, and you're not going to allow people to get on there. But anybody that asks a question by Monday end of day, you'll take those questions. And that gives you a chance to kind of look through the questions. There might be 2 or 3 people asking the same question, so you can bring them together. It can help you avoid people wasting time on the call asking questions that are like kind of dumb questions. And for the dumb questions, you can just kind of answer them directly. Hey, that information is addressed in lesson 2, for example. So that's definitely one way to do it. And then I always recommend, if you're going to be recording it, make it available as in an archive, so that anybody who can't attend or anybody who just wants to review what you answered with them for them, they have access to it after the fact, and they don't have to sit there and try to record it live. So that's always handy. As a final answer, if you're using a private Facebook group, you can answer questions there. If you're using a tool or a platform like BuddyBoss app, that's a great way for people to have a place where they can communicate with you, and it allows you to kind of keep it under control. Okay, recommendation number 2 is give people a sense of community. When I'm learning in Lone Ranger mode, it's very easy to get frustrated. You're kind of lonely. Am I the only one that isn't getting this? But when you have a sense of community, it changes that a bit. So let's say that you do give them a private Facebook group, or you create a group with an activity feed using something like BuddyBoss. That's a great way for people to talk to each other. And they can come up and say, hey, I got to the end of lesson 1. It's asking me this question. This doesn't really make sense. Am I the only one? Now, keep in mind, that's not really a question directed as you, the course builder. That's a question to everybody in the community. So let's say you've got people that just started the course and they're in lesson 1, 2, or 3, and then you have people that are farther along. Maybe they're close to being done. They might be in a really good position to say, hey, I felt the same way when I got to the end of that lesson. I was a little bit lost, but be patient with it. Once you get into lesson 2 or lesson 3, it answers those questions. That can go a long way to get someone who thinks, man, maybe I'm in the wrong course, to go, hold on, maybe I'm in the right course. I just need to kind of be a little bit more patient. Now, I already described people interacting in a certain way. What we found is, once people get to the end of your material, the relationships they've developed with other people might be a reason for them to stick around a little bit longer. If you have a recurring revenue membership where people pay every month, they might get to the end of the material, they really can't learn anything specifically from your course, but they want to stay connected to those other people, and they would pay you for that access. So don't underestimate how powerful that can be. You might also want to look at ways to graduate people. So if they get to the end of the course, you can invite them to an alumni group, which is a group that only those people who've gone through the entire course, would hang out in. And by the way, that's a great place to start upselling people, or even coming up with ideas for what those people want, because those are likely going to be your best customers. You can talk to them about what are the kind of things they want, and maybe you create a private course led by you with those people. That should be very rewarding as you as an instructor. Now, the third one is add some gamification to your platform. If you have a very competitive bunch like sales guys, having a leaderboard that shows who has made the most progress, who's been the most engaged, whatever the points are that you want to incentivize people, man, putting a name of this person up there can really motivate people to keep moving through your course. You can award badges when people accomplish something or hit a specific milestone. When that's the case, people who are, I'm a little tired, I don't really want to do this anymore, but it's like, hold on, if I finish one or maybe two more lessons, I can get that badge. And you'd be surprised how many people, for a free badge that allows them to have a badge next to their name on the leaderboard, or when people visit their profile inside of your site, it can go a long way to keep people moving through your course. Now, I already mentioned a little bit before how people might interact, but having people get connected in general is good, but you might be able to have, like, let's say, all the team members that are part of that organization or that company in one group, and then you gamify that. That can get really interesting, because now there's a lot of people that know each other, and they might start jabbing each other, and egging people along in the program. It can also have the boss come up and observe how people are interacting. Maybe some of the interactions are negative, and it gives the boss, or people that are in coordinators or management positions, just some feedback, and then you're getting credit for exposing or giving members of an organization understanding of what the dynamics between their team members are. So hey, these are 3 recommendations. If you have any questions for me, feel free to schedule a 30-minute call with me, perfectly free. I'm not going to sell you on anything. I'm happy to answer questions. And maybe there's something that we can do to help you move your program farther along and make it more successful. Cheers.